The song is about depression, and it's essentially saying, cheer up. Now, I personally have never committed suicide, but I know people that have.
Of course you haven't committed suicide. If you committed suicide, you would be dead. I think you meant you haven't attempted suicide, but I don't know.
And I'll be honest, I'm reacting to this because it's, like, pretty disgusting. Instead of explaining it, let me just pull up the lyrics. So it's a really catchy song, and it starts out, it says, I've been on the low, I've been taking my time. I feel like I'm out of my mind. I feel like my life ain't mine. Who can relate? Woo! Who can relate? Woo? The woo? Was that fucking necessary? Who can relate to wanting to fucking kill themselves?
The pre-chorus of the song is talking about sadness, and what's wrong with relating to suicide? I mean, shouldn't you want to relate to suicide or make people who's thinking about suicide feel like they're normal instead of ostracizing them? I don't think that actually ostracizing somebody who already feels bad and making them feel like a freak is a good idea. A good idea and principled thought and action. I mean, what do you want him to do? This song is supposed to make you not suicidal, not bring you towards more feeling bad about being it. If more people were open about their sadness, then they would go and get help. That's the whole point. And I think that the song originally was going to be a song about sadness, or, you know, build up to some type of idea of him being sad, but it morphed into depression, kind of how sadness morphed into depression. Like, you know, people usually go from 0 to 100, and that's what I think Logic is saying.
Woo? Was the woo fucking appropriate there? Woo! Dude! No! It's like...
Woo! Was it appropriate to blur out the word fuck?
I'm bringing attention to it, so what I actually say doesn't matter. So
only to have it said uncensored and unedited literally seconds after you blurt it out.
So if I make fucking jokes about suicide and make light of the issue, at the end of the day, I'm bringing light to the issue, I'm talking about the important issues, so it's a net gain overall, right people?
I mean, you literally rewatched the video, added that censor or blur into it, and didn't decide to blur out the other curse words. I mean, hey, children could be watching, which underscores the point of your idea that if you're talking about suicide and some people could be sensitive about it, it could offend some people, or maybe, i.e., some children, but yet you curse all throughout this video. I mean, people could have sensitive ears. They could be Mormons or conservative Muslims who doesn't like filthy language. So really think about that before you talk about anybody offending other people.
You nailed it. You nailed it. How do suicidal people feel? I want to die. Good. What else? I don't want to be alive. Yep. Nailed it. Nailed it. Yep. Nailed it. Holy shit.
You're like a guy who heard the whole phrase, don't judge a book by its cover, so you turned it to the summaries and then judged it on that. I mean, come on. I like that Logic is just getting to the point and not really adding all these small, unique details that would make somebody think, this is why I should kill myself, or this level of my life getting worse is the time that I will end it. I mean, if Logic just said, hey, this kid has his head dunked into a toilet and him being shoved into a locker, and that's why he did it, people would still criticize that, because people would say, oh man, you're making a threshold to the possibility of killing yourself. So it's better that Logic just painted a broad picture and just talked about the emotions instead of just painting like, this is the point of your life where you should end it all. Like, that's how I feel about it.
Shit, that's fucking relatable. But before we continue reading the lyrics, because it only gets worse, let me make a pit stop and mention that if someone's gonna make a song about suicide or depression, it's like a given that they've dealt with this. It's like a fucking assumed thing that they have gone through this, and that's why they're writing about it.
Even though I've never personally dealt with, suicidal thoughts, it's like I have to put myself in that place. So I have to put myself in a negative place, which is, I hope fans can really appreciate.
This is like when Macklemore wrote Same Love about the gay struggles, and he's just fucking not gay at all, and then accepted a Grammy for it and shit. Except this is so much worse because he's assuming the position of someone who's gone through this, and you haven't.
Man, I can't wait until this guy finds out that Elton John is actually not an astronaut, or that the Beatles wasn't actually like actual walruses, or that the Talking Heads wasn't actually psycho killers.
And to be clear, I can't be that offended because I haven't gone through any of this either, but like, I'm just standing on the sidelines like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, why the hell would I listen to this? What do you have to add to the conversation? You've got nothing to do with this shit at all.
Sometimes you gotta give the fans what they, not even know what they want, but what they need, what they don't know they want. You know, I've always been a vulnerable artist, and I believe that's why I've amassed the fans that I have, and that people like gravitate to me because I'm just myself and I'm honest.
This really wasn't your song to make. You didn't contribute anything, you didn't discuss anything, you didn't even explore anything.
So basically, his whole point is don't try to prevent AIDS unless you have some. That's basically his whole point summarized in one sentence.
What's the day without a little night? There's not daytime for these people. It's not just like sadness. It's not just fucking sadness. People would just be happy eventually and get over it. You don't think it might be a chemical imbalance in the brain? Did you look it up? Do some fucking research? Just think about it. I mean, just think about it. Like, you named yourself Logic. What the fuck?
Acknowledging that some people are sad because, I don't know, because of life events, you lost your job, you lost your girlfriend, you lost your car keys, or you just found out that your mother died of cancer, does not invalidate the people who actually are sad because of a chemical imbalance. I mean, come on, man. Logic wasn't saying that.
I mean, am I the crazy one here? Let's not make a suicide anthem. This is actually giving me suicidal thoughts.
Yes, you're actually mentally ill if you actually would, end it over a song. I mean, you talk about Logic disrespecting people who are suicidal or depressed. That's one of the most disrespectful things I have ever heard in my life, to tell you the truth.
I've been praying for somebody to save me, no one's heroic.
This is where the writing begins to piss me off. Where having people to help you is important, having those people around doesn't fix you. When going through depression, friends and loved ones are great for supporting you through everything, but overcoming the feeling is a completely different battle. There's not a single person out there who can just make it all go away.
No, it doesn't help you, and it's not a single person. It may be a group of people, or maybe a loved one that helped you out. Who made you the main arbiter of depression and how people have it, and whether people are worthy to beat it by simply having friends around? Don't you think that's a little bit arrogant and very selfish of you to, diminish somebody's depression even if they find out that they actually are, it stopped once they had friends around? I mean, who are you to say that it doesn't help out?
When I was in middle school, I suffered a bout of depression that no one in my family could fix. At that point, I wanted to stay in my room in my safe little bubble rather than spend time with my own siblings. Mind you, none of them did anything to deserve to be shunned the way they were. I just felt so scared and worthless that I just didn't want to leave the comfort of my little shell.
Maybe you were naturally introverted as a kid, during the teen years. It's a very awkward time, and maybe you just needed time for yourself. I mean, a lot of people are introverted, but I don't know you personally, so hey.
I never had a place to call my own. I never had a home. Say every life precious, but nobody care about mine.
These are flat out stereotypes. Can they be a problem? Absolutely, but that's not usually the case. Several depressed people have a home that they feel safe coming back to and have people that care about them. Even if home isn't safe, most depressed people I've met have always tried to find little safe havens for themselves.
Maybe people who suffered from high-class, white picket gate depression like yourself, I'm assuming. Maybe that's the case, but many poor people do not have a haven or home to go to. And besides, just because it's a stereotype doesn't mean it's true or not true. I mean, there's many homeless people who beg. Homeless people begging is a stereotype, but it still happens every day.
I've been on the low, I've been taking my time.
Taking your time? With what?
I feel like I'm out of my mind.
You sound pretty fucking calm to me.
Somebody could say the same thing about yourself. I mean, as a person who has a pretty sizable YouTube following and probably has an apartment, when you lament about you being depressed earlier in your life, somebody could take that as, I don't believe it, you're good now.
I don't wanna be alive. I don't wanna be alive.
Stop the song. Guys, during that bout of depression I mentioned earlier during middle school, I started having nightmares where I would wake up, go to my kitchen, grab one of my dad's chef knives, and stab myself with it. They scared me so badly, I would jolt awake crying every time. And eventually, it got to the point where they started showing up during the day. Now, thankfully for me, this only got as far as my thoughts. I did not attempt to enact my nightmare in any way, and I avoided the chef knives like the plague. But looking back, I don't know what scared me more, okay? The fact that I imagined it at all, or the fact that I was starting to consider killing myself as a rational idea. At this point in my life, I was conflicted between wanting to live and wanting to just end the pain. That's just thinking about suicide, okay? What logic is doing here is painting a picture, or trying to paint a picture, I should say, of someone who is just getting ready to attempt killing themselves, which I can only imagine is 100 times worse than what I went through.
Now, I'm reacting to her because I want to show two contrasts in the people who hate this song. The first guy was saying that Logic wasn't going deep enough when it comes to telling about suicide. She's saying that Logic is going too far. I mean, she's reading too much into the lyrics because of her personal experience. Logic just said he doesn't want to be alive. He's not explaining how he's going to commit suicide or telling which type of rope you should buy or what type of knife. I mean, she's just building this off of her personal experience, which sad and tragic to be is her personal experience. I mean, come on, young lady, I get it. And besides, it's sad that you had these nightmares and daydreams about killing yourself, but plenty of people have these things. I mean, just listen to Kanye's opening track, Yay. You're not alone, but still, I think you're taking your personal experience a little too far.
That's just logic. The features don't make it any better.
It's the very first breath when your head's been drumming.
Yeah, Miss Garcia Beautiful can get things wrong too. Oh, and whoever helped her write lines like this one?
Chest to chest with the lover.
Know this. If my 13-year-old self heard that, I would have put the knife to my chest. I wish I was exaggerating when I said that.
Wow, is she the supreme madam? I mean, I'm not kidding here, but miss, I'm sorry to tell you this, but a lot of people either have loved ones or lost loved ones. I mean, I lost my grandfather when I was at a young age, and I loved him. But if somebody says, you know what, you should talk to your father or parents or grandparents, and then as they don't know that my grandfather passed away, I wouldn't threaten to kill myself. Come on, man. I mean, this is sad and all, but you don't have to take it that seriously.
Now, Khalid's part is the least offensive of the three here, not gonna lie. Having it, though, does convey this idea that the hotline can somehow fix you, and that's just not the case. The hotline, like family and friends who care about you, and even the music you listen to, is just another form of emotional support. Getting through depression is a rough climb, but it's still a climb that you have to make, and that's clearly something that nobody involved in this understood.
Look, miss, you're absolutely correct, but at some point, for many people, not even pills help out with their depression. For many people, not even therapy help out with their depression. Not even friends help out with depression. But you wouldn't say, hey, the pills doesn't help out, the therapy doesn't help out, and many of the friends doesn't help out. So they're all failures that you shouldn't try. I mean, come on here. But yeah, I'm going to end the video right here. This was just a response video. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and I'm out, guys.